So that's Avalon down there in the valley. And I've just ridden all the way up here onto the hill. Down the other side, in the next valley, that's Vézelay. They got the big basilica on the hill. And there's the Morvan, the hills in the distance. I'm following this trail through the woods down the back of the hill there, round the backs of these two hills here, and back to Avalon. This is a route I've done once before. Well, the first bit I've done once before. I've just got to get up into the wood here and over the crest of the hill, and there's quite a lot of high speed descending. Is there any greater symbol of freedom than the humble bicycle? I suppose you could argue a motorcycle, but as soon as you put an engine on it, they want you to have a license. So they're kind of taking away your freedom and giving you a privilege. And we're in the woods. Home sweet home. So that's the top of the hill. It says we're at 1,200 feet. And of course this was a big draw for me of living in this place, because it's just so easy, especially with a bike like this, to get out into places like this. So I'm going to do you guys the courtesy of keeping my shorts on, but really my religion dictates that I should be naked at this moment. Maybe that's the greatest symbol of freedom, the naked human body, though not in pornography, in nature. Certainly your skin, if it's on display, you can't hide what you've been through. Kind of life you've led. Not just your skin, I suppose, you know, the way you carry yourself, all kinds of physical attributes, you know, your hair, your eyes, whether there's life in your eyes or not. Some people got dead eyes, a lot of people got dead eyes. What you see nowadays in a lot of people is a mask and a pair of dead eyes. Like, I want it all to be over, but I don't know how to stop it. You didn't realise you're creating it. It's a karmic process. We've created all of this. So when I look at my skin and the quote unquote problems I've had with that over the years, I also flip it around and I look at this. This is my reality. So incredibly peaceful. It's just me and 1,000 trees in this little valley and a few hundred birds. Not a cloud in the sky. And it's all for me. It's a reminder of the truth. So I'm just going to sit here for a while and just breathe it in. You've got to get cross-legged for this, otherwise you don't look the part, do you? I mean, it starts with the breath. Every day should start with the breath. Your life starts when you take your first breath. Not biologically, scientifically speaking, of course, but, you know, metaphysically, when you take that first breath, that's when your natal chart is calculated in astrology. It's not the moment of gestation, the moment of, you know, the sperm meeting the egg. It's the moment you draw your first breath. So I used to be big on intermittent fasting until at some point in the woods there, when I lived back in the woods in England, I think I got too deep into the healing. And a big part of that was the fact that I put myself in that ridiculously difficult, emotionally difficult, physically difficult, unsustainable situation to get the deep healing going and to get the process so that I couldn't back out, so I couldn't take days off kind of thing. I was actually raw vegan when I was initially going into the woods, first of all, and building the place. And, you know, that was really hard. And I don't know if it's hard for everyone, but it was hard for me, karmically, because of the things it was bringing to the surface. And funnily enough, I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and we've had, just through chance, I guess, because we didn't know each other when we went vegan, we became friends during the time that we were vegan. And then we stopped being vegan after we'd both been vegan for about 3.5 years. And we both experimented briefly with the ketogenic, or at least down that end of the spectrum, you know, let's go completely the other way and see if we can, because you feel like maybe you've been delusional. It's a question of faith as much as anything, I suppose. But you feel like, oh, maybe I was deceived. Maybe all these people on YouTube who say it's great being vegan are deceiving you. I don't believe that. I didn't really believe it then, but I had to try, you see, for my health. My health was collapsing. My sanity as well when I was out there in the woods. So in a roundabout way, we were talking just the other day, and it transpires that both of us are now virtually back to being vegan. I mean, I have not eaten anything from an animal in a little while now, and it's because I've got the markers in my body that tell me that there's something wrong, and I know that there's way more to it than just what you eat, but it is very important what you eat and what you don't eat. And yeah, intermittent fasting is a real no-brainer. Almost everyone who tries it gets some sort of benefit from it. I only took my first sip of water when I just stopped riding 20 minutes ago. But of course, you don't need to really dive into these things on the internet. I mean, they can give you clues, they can give you pointers, and of course it's invaluable learning from other people's experience. But the greatest source of truth, of wisdom, is right within you. You should never doubt your intuition. You know, even if there seems to be evidence to the contrary, if you pick away at it, you will find that evidence does not stand up to sustained analysis, because your intuition is not wrong. And if you're anything like me, you'll find it gets a lot louder, a lot clearer when you come out to places like this, when you make a point of it. You want to sit here just long enough to forget who you thought you were when you were in town, and remember nothing. Literally nothing. We're going to take that feeling and let it permeate through something that doesn't have a name. And then we're going to go back to town. We're going to take that feeling with us. And it's going to radically alter the way we feel and the way we think and the way we react to the people and the situations that are put in front of us. And that is the true revolution that we need. That's what Babylon fears most. That people will just go out into nature and sit there with no agenda until this realization comes upon them. And I've had help. I followed a lot of people for years to learn these things, to learn conceptually to learn these things, but then you have to go out there and realize it for yourself. And you probably could spontaneously realize this, but I don't think I would have done. I think when I was 27, I was completely lost in the matrix. So can it happen spontaneously? Yeah, I'm sure it can. And I'm sure that actually just, if you believe in blind chance, by blind chance I ended up working on nature reserves, so I did come into contact with a lot more nature, and that probably helped. But it doesn't matter. That story doesn't matter. That version isn't here now. You can erase any amount of data and rewrite it.